I think, and some people I know think that Sexy Red is a psyop. This is the breaking news of this week.
This is the most important thing happening.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's be honest.
After this, we'll talk about like things that other people consider important, like the military and
Whatever.
the UN. But like, we're going to start off with the big news, which is Tony, podcast producer, who helps and does everything. Thank you very much. Is Sexy Red a psyop?
Now, to be completely honest, I thought Sexy Red was a parody. I thought she was a comedian. Literally the first thing I saw, that Pound Town song.
Yeah.
The music video for Pound Town song I thought was satire.
Yeah.
I thought she was a comedian. We're in, that kind of realm of comedy.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to know who she is.
So I figured she was coming up on my bullshit because she was a comedian.
Yes. Now, I have to say, CP texted us one time, and he's like, I want to do a podcast on Is Sexy Red a psyop?
Ooh.
Yeah.
We have to do that next time we're in.
Yeah, and I was like, CP, I'm kind of giving birth right now. Can we hold this? Like, I'm just not going to be there. I'm busy. What
is the purpose of the psyop? I agree with you that she is a harbinger of doom for Western civilization.
Yes.
But in what way would she be a psyop?
I that's what I can't figure out. I can't figure this out. I listened to the radio in the car, regular radio, like broadcast radio, and everybody makes fun of me for it. But I'm like, whatever. Sometimes there's a bop. Anyway, so I hear her new song with Drake, which is Rich Baby Daddy.
Okay.
I listened to this. I got halfway through and I had to stop listening to it because I was like, I'm not going to listen to this song twice in my life. I had to save it for you. I turned it off. I changed to a better channel.
Uh-huh.
And then I got home and we listened to it together.
Right.
We're both horrified.
It's insane because, okay, we first heard, I think I showed it to you. Pound Town.
I heard about Pound Town. You showed me Pound Town because people were upset that Sexy Red had come and spoken at a middle school event instead of like a doctor or scientist. And I was like, oh, this girl, she got a look to her. She kind of looks like an X-Men. Like, this is dope. Or the look. And I was like, why is everybody upset? Because I didn't quite understand. You're like, I have to show you Pound Town.
Yeah, because I had seen Pound Town before that. And I was like, oh, this is funny. And then I think I slowly realized that it was, she was a quote unquote legitimate artist,
a hip hop rapper artist. Like she's the biggest thing. And it's been
big.
like 4 months. When did Pound Town come out?
This has been going on for a long time. But then I realized like, okay, wait, this isn't a joke. This is a real thing. And I became upset and I just tuned it out until that she started like becoming a figure in hip hop, which I found very disappointing. If you haven't heard Sexy Red and we haven't played it already, or this becomes the clip and I'm not going to play it on YouTube, it doesn't set like, I know I've said it before that the thing that the kids are about now is like,
the kids these days.
You don't want to be perceived as trying to do
you don't want to be
anything
try-hard.
well.
Yeah.
Right. And that's, I think, justified. Like, I feel like you told me one time that you had thought that the perception of a try-hard, like kids today want to listen to things that they think they could achieve.
Yeah, because they don't want to, they have to be part of it.
Right.
And if you're like, oh, this person is objectively more talented than me.
Right.
Then I'm not the center of attention
It makes
anymore.
them feel bad.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a commentary on this generation where it's, yes, they want things from peers, right? They want entertainment produced and created by peers a lot of the time. Or they want Marvel movies. Maybe. I guess we'll see. And if a peer couldn't have created it, I think they're less interested.
Or if they couldn't have made it.
Yeah.
Then they're less interested. And it's hard to look at. Maybe it makes people feel bad when you look at something that someone your age has done with the same 24 hours they have in the day and the same 10 fingers they have and the same, 2 eyes. That is just so far beyond what you could do.
Yeah.
That of course it makes you feel bad.
And I think that's a good generational division marker, right? Where it's like at some point we decided we don't want to watch things that are good.
That are amazing.
Yes.
Like, I mean, and I don't know how much this relates. I'm just going to say this is what brings to mind. Like, what pops into my head right now is when you look back and, at least in the 50s, you see things that just came on TV that the dances were amazing.
Right.
And you couldn't dance like this. They found like the best dancer in the country. We watched this 50s Abbott and Costello Christmas special.
Oh my God. Yeah, it was amazing.
Yeah. And the people that they brought on, they were like the best in the country.
Yeah.
These dancers were just, and you looked at them and you're like, oh my God, you're doing this live?
Yeah.
There's no room for error here. Like, you people are objectively amazing. Many different dancers. Acrobatics they brought in.
The Nicholas brothers?
The Nicholas brothers. And then they had the acrobatics.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had this dancer. One was a little person, a dwarf dancer. So she looked like a child. But we looked it up and she wasn't a child. She was a woman who was a dancer. And so they did this kind of man dancing with a doll. And it was her and her husband. And beautiful.
And even beyond that, it's like we're going way back. I mean, like, obviously people back in the day wanted to watch people do things that were hard to do, right? See, this sounds crazy. We sound a little crazy, but like, up until what point do you think? Because I remember having this conversation after listening to, well, I think it was like that era of like Little Xan was everywhere.
Oh, that was already over. I think it was already over by that point.
And now I'm like, maybe Little Xan was an artist. Like, there's like Little Xan. There's who was it? What was it?
You're asking me about rapper names?
It was the thing. The
Lil Pump?
Lil Pump.
Just Lil something.
Lil Pump. That song by Lil Pump.
Can I just clarify, put some information here? You can look up what the song by Lil Pump is. But I just want to let everybody know that Pound Town was released January 27th of 2023. It was this year.
Oh, my God.
So that's how fast things are happening.
Jesus
and I remember
Christ.
last year, everybody was mad about Ice Spice being untalented or not a good performance. And now it is even worse. So we're exponentially getting worse.
Yeah. Gucci Gang.
Gucci Gang.
That's when we started talking about it. Yeah, because Gucci Gang, if you watch the video for Gucci Gang, they got like a tiger in there. They got like a middle school rented out. They got a nice car. Like, they've got all the elements of something that could be, you know, like a flashy, interesting thing. And the song itself is vapid and horrible.
Yeah.
Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang, Gucci Gang.
I think
Gucci
it's
gang.
a joke. I think it's a joke on how bad they can get.
We keep thinking it's a joke, but maybe we'll get to that in the PSYOP part of the conversation. But when you watch the video and you watch him perform, he's not trying to perform. It looks like he's on like Xanax. He looks like but he doesn't. He doesn't look like he's on drugs, but he's acting as if he's on drugs. So it felt very performative to be so detached from the thing you're doing.
Yeah. And that's so interesting how people kind of adopt the mannerisms of their age and how quickly people change just in the way they carry their body and their speech. Because, like, I still know people who speak in this mid-Atlantic accent. Mm-hmm. So Debbie, she's a Silent Generation. She's on her way out.
How old is she?
Oh, she's probably 79 by this point. And Jerry, they speak in a mid-Atlantic accent. And if you look at the movies from, I'd say, up to the 1960s in the Americans, the general, like we're speaking right now, which is the general American dialect.
Yeah.
So I could come from anywhere in the United States, general TV dialect. That's what I am speaking right now. But for a while, that was this thing called mid-Atlantic.
Yeah. Because your mother used to hit you with a spoon when you sounded like you were from Boston.
Yeah. And good. But yeah, good. That's what you have to do because do you love them or not? But her mother would hit her with a spoon if she sounded like I sound right now. You spoke in a mid-Atlantic.
Do a mid-Atlantic.
Oh no, I can't do it right now. It's just the way they do their A's. Like, oh shoot. Well, I'll find an example of a mid-Atlantic. I'd have to do it an impression of Debbie or Jerry.
You seem quite contemptuous of me all of a sudden.
No, Red. Not of you. Never of you.
And they were born in 36, and I want to say 41, like right before the baby boomers. And so this was Silent Gen, but they spoke their standard dialect of what you would see on TV was a mid-Atlantic accent.
Right.
And so I just say that as an example of the way things have degraded and how a generation can take up mannerisms and dialects of speech from whatever. Even though if they're not on Xanax, is that the is that the way this generation carries themselves?
Yeah, and I assume a mid-Atlantic accent is like a more hoity. We would think of it as like a hoity accent, like you're affecting an upper class presentation.
Yeah, it's an upper class, but like everybody spoke that way.
Right.
Both of these people that I'm speaking of right now came from the Northeast in the 1930s, 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like a it's comparable to a British accent. If you hear a mid-Atlantic accent and you hear the British accent, you're not like, oh, the Brit is better.
Right.
Right now, if you hear how I'm speaking and you hear any British accent, posh British accent, you're like, oh, the Brit is better.
Well, better, it's different.
Or like classier.
Right.
Even though we might be the same level of posh, quote unquote, they sound classier.
And we know those Brits aren't better. They're
not better.
trash.
They are worse. They are worse and they speak better. And yeah, no. But a mid-Atlantic person sounds like, when you talk about an adult, like this sounds like an adult. Like a Humphrey Bogart, those kind of movies. Those Americans spoke this way. And you're just like, okay, sir. You call them sir, you call them ma'am, just by hearing the accent.
And now kids today feels like it's mumbly, it's like tired, it's exhausted.
It's tired. Yeah. When's the last time a parent told their kid to enunciate?
Yeah.
Like, I used to get yelled at to enunciate all the time. Like,
I tell our 7-week-old to enunciate.
Enunciate. Say your words. Finish your things. And when I'm editing, it's the most annoying thing when I mumble. I'm like, my mother would have hit me with a spoon, and she would have been right to do it. Mm-hmm. We should abuse our kids more, not less.
Hey.
Because look what happened.
It gets us places, because then we end up with sexyyred. Well, okay, before we get to sexyyred.
Buy more spoons, wooden spoons. We went to plastic. You got to hit your kid with a wooden spoon. Not a big one, but like a little smack when we hear
plastic is too,
What do you want? Enunciate.
So there's, Lil Pump, I think, is when we first started having these conversations. And if you kind of look across media, that I think it's a thing. It's like people... It doesn't seem like the kids want to watch something that's too difficult to do, either because it makes them feel bad about themselves or they want to feel included. It is kind of the change in all entertainment, right? Where it's like the entertainment that kids are consuming is typically created by peers, or it has the presentation that it's created by peers.
Yeah. Which... Yeah, and then everybody wants to be like the kids because they are the top of the entertainment hierarchy for some reason. And
it's because they buy things. When you look at attractive demographics for advertisers, it's always kids. Like, you become a less attractive target for advertisers once you hit like 35 to 40, like after you've had kids.
Oh, and you know what the problem is? It's that the 35, 40 plus are buying things for their kids.
Yeah.
If the 35, 40 plus said, your child, I'm not buying you anything. I'm buying something for myself.
Right.
The demographics, the marketing completely changed because they don't have any money.
Yeah.
They don't have any money. It's because the older people are being tricked and being bullied by their children to buy them things. Stop buying things for your children.
Yeah. And then we revisited this conversation with Ice Spice, which I have been told by our friend Amir, by Brandon, by people who listen to hip hop music, that Ice Spice does a very good job at what she does. Yeah. Maybe. I am not the one to judge that. That's not the point that I'm trying to make about any of this, whether or not this is good art. But Ice Spice, when you watch her perform, has that same demeanor as a Lil Pump. It looks as if she's trying to not be overly enthusiastic.
Now, are we going back to like the Victorian fainting type? Because it does seem like she's sick. Like, any time these people could just fall over.
Yeah. And to be fair, I will say, like, there is another, realm of this kind of music, like drill rappers, like that are very intense and they are very entertaining. Right.
So we're going by simply who is the most entertaining.
But I don't think that's as mainstream as like Ice Spice, obviously.
Now, is it more mainstream because the algorithm is picking up on what horrifies people and people are talking about how much this person sucks, and so they get more attention, and attention is all that matters, whether it's good or bad?
Maybe. I mean, well, the other thing is like, I'm trying to think of like there's Beyonce, right? Like, this argument falls apart entirely when we start talking about Beyonce.
Yeah.
Because she's she's a larger than life personality. She's not supposed to be a peer. Clearly, she's not a peer.
No, she's not. She's above you.
Right.
And she
Cardi
lets
B
you know.
also in this same sort of realm as an Ice Spice. Very dynamic performer. But
as
I
an
do
Ice Spice
think,
or as a Beyonce?
What's that?
Cardi B's below Beyonce, but way above Ice Spice.
Yeah, she's more, I think she's, and again.
She's trying a little bit to put on a show.
She's putting on a show.
She knows she's charismatic.
Right. But I think the demographic for a Beyonce or for a Cardi B is much older, and much meaning like what? A generation, right? Like it's like 8 years older maybe. So I think what comes up through the filter of the youth is who we're talking about.
And so we need to stop paying attention to the youth.
We got to do it.
We have to ignore the youth because where are they even getting the money to buy this stuff?
I don't know. But then you get to Sexy Red, who is such a caricature of like and again, I'm talking about presentation. She's not trying to sing.
No.
She's not trying to say anything really. Like I don't see the artistry. I don't see the argument for artistry in what Sexy Red does.
Let me see the Rich Baby Daddy lyrics. Bend that ass over, let that coochie breathe. Shake that ass, bitch, hands on your knees. Hands on your knees, ho, hands on your knees. Shake that ass for Drake. Now shake that ass for me. Bend that ass over, let that coochie breathe. Yeah, so that repeats.
Right. And I'm not,
What are you trying to say except shake that ass and bend over and let it breathe?
And there are people who do that very well.
That's where it's like,
look,
geez.
There are people who do that kind of shit very well. She's not even trying to do it well. She's not singing. She's not performing to my filter in any way. Again, I am clearly not the audience for this.
No, we're too old now. I don't know as soon as the baby was born, we got too old for all this.
Right. And I've never been in anything that you would consider like a hip hop music genre space.
Now,
right?
I will say this for the lyrics. It's called Rich Baby Daddy. So you're going to let that coochie breathe. And then that's how you get a baby daddy. Then she should follow it up with 9 months of hard labor. Like this is gonna suck for 9 months, and then your life is over because you let that coochie breathe. So now you pay for it for the next 18 years minimum, plus the pregnancy.
But again, it's not about that it's vulgar and vapid and dumb. It's that she's not trying to sing. She's not trying to do anything resembling like a melodic performance. No,
this is not supposed to sound good. That's why we don't understand it. Like we don't understand what's going on here. Why you would listen to this?
It feels very layered. If this is art, it's got to be very layered.
Now, I will say this: do they still teach art in school? Art criticism? Do you still have to go to art class and music class in school?
I don't know.
Because people are saying that kind of fell behind, and a lot of people don't get the right music classes that they should have, so they don't understand music, and maybe because it's not being taught to them, they don't know they should appreciate it.
Well, look, we're gonna get eaten alive by the people who know that this genre probably, but I really hope that we can all agree that Sexy Red is sort of a jumping the shark moment in hip hop. She was not
just in hip hop, in society, in culture.
It's like we've gone beyond parody, which I think is why CP wants to talk about it as like, is this a psyop?
What does it mean? I want to talk to him about it too, because like, what do you CP would understand way more than us.
Yeah.
Why this is offensive to hip hop. I know it's offensive to music, and I know it's offensive to culture, and I know it's offensive to women, and I know it's offensive to society as a whole. But
all those things are excusable. What you're saying is offensive. All that's excusable if it's good.
Yeah.
Right.
And I want to hear from CP and Amir why this is. What this says about hip hop and rap.
Like, what is the idea of an industry plant? Like, what? Yeah. I don't fully understand it, so we'll revisit that.
Yeah. So here's my thing. I look at Sexy Red, and I just look at it as a state of where the kids are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then I look to the more important stuff that's going on in the world. Like
what? Nothing other than this is what we've been talking about all week.
I hear there's news out of Israel-Palestine.
What?
And
that was last week.
I know. And then we got aircraft carriers. They got aircraft carriers. Joe Biden. They're not aircraft. I think they're destroyers. I think the Chinese are sending destroyers. Joe Biden gets on TV and is like, we have to defend our way of life. And then I'm here like, what is the way of life you want to defend right now? You mean Sexy Red? Because if that's the way of life you want to defend right now, you're going to have to stop gaslighting us. So this has been a clip from my Patreon podcast. This week we talk about why people like such horrible music and also how all of the different news outlets are covering the Israel-Palestine conflict. Thank you.